It's Red Eye Radio. Gary McNamara and Eric Harley talk about everything from politics to social issues and news of the day. Whether you're up late or you're just starting your day, welcome to the show. From the Uniden America Studios, this is Red Eye Radio.
All across America, we are Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Good morning. Hi. Wow. Thursday already.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy. It is just one continuous day now because everything is moving at a pretty quick pace. I mean, every day is just filled with events. I don't mind it.
Well, this caught my ear.
Mm-hmm.
This came from a Illinois representative, Darren LaHood from Illinois, Republican congressperson, and he's from Illinois, and he's questioning Mayor Brandon Johnson of Chicago, that has a 6.6% approval. And apparently that is the worst showing of any political figure in United States history.
Wow. Okay. I didn't know that, but all right.
That's what he says.
Wow.
That's what M3 strategy says, according to Representative LaHood.
Yeah.
Now, you and I remember Lori Lightfoot.
Mm-hmm.
And she was down to like 20% or 23%.
Right.
It was like she had to go. It's like,
yeah,
forget people. Well, anybody would be better than her.
Nope. Apparently not.
I wonder if she's writing on her social media, "Miss me now?"
Yeah, right. Exactly. Because but again, here's the breakdown of that, and I talked about it the other day when we did the horrible approval numbers. I mean, you and I want to talk to that 6.6%. So, where do you go? Someone more moderate? No.
Well, that's the same thing you see in New York City. It's like it'll be another Democrat, and in Chicago it'll be another Democrat.
Well,
and it's like we need to find. They all think the same way. They all want to do the same things. Mm-hmm. They all want to be sanctuary cities.
Right.
We don't want a sanctuary city.
Yeah,
you can't put a Democrat mayor in who's against sanctuary cities.
Right. And they got to be pro-identity politics.
Yep.
And remember, the former king of Chicago, Rahm Emanuel, several years ago came out and said, we need to cool it with the identity politics. He was one of those Democrats that said that. So he can't come back.
All right, but here's the back and forth as he attempts to defend his 6.6% approval.
Thought you might do this. And when I hear your answer, no one in this room should be surprised that your approval rating is 6.6%. Now, that's not just me saying this. Newsweek article, the least popular politician in America is Brandon Johnson. So, recent poll, M3 Strategies conducted this February 20th to 21st, showed that Mayor Johnson has a 6.6% approval rating, the worst showing of any political figure in the country's history. So I know you're talking about crime is down and things are great and, the city's flush with money. None of that is backed up by the people in the city of Chicago. And so I'm wondering why you continue to go down this path of failed policies, destruction to the city of Chicago, people fleeing, law enforcement at an all-time low. And I'm wondering if you have any remorse for that here today and can tell us why you continue to double down on these failed policies.
We've invested $1.25 billion for housing and economic development, particularly for Black Chicago. It's the largest investment in the history of Chicago. 45% increase in youth employment, particularly for Black and brown children. I will not apologize for my investments in the people of Chicago. We have one of the most diverse economies, the top universities. As violence continues to go down and investments continue to go up, that is what's most important. We've opened up 3 mental health clinics, the first mayor since the first Black mayor in the history of Chicago.
I'm going to reclaim my
invest in,
Mr. Mayor, I'm going to reclaim my time.
in public health, and I will continue to make those
Your
investments.
approval rating speaks volumes.
Well, the people approve of my investments, and I will continue to make those investments.
You're
Thank you
going the
very
wrong
much.
direction. You need to reverse your policies on sanctuary cities. That's what the election results were last year. Crime and
Is down in
immigration
Chicago.
were the #1 issue in the election. From
It's you're just not going to win. You're just not going to win.
When you and I saw that, the 6.6%, and then it was so funny because we found some of the mainstream media that rounded it up to 7. So
Right.
It's because 6.6.
Yeah.
It's like, no,
Right.
you got to say 6.6 because it's so
Well, but when rounding, if it's over 0.5, then you go to the no.
We need full transparency.
Exactly.
No rounding up the number.
Like that was going to help. Just give them a 7. Just write 7.
Right, 7.
We were just trying to save space in the article. No, you weren't. 7.
I did ask the question, though, because we've seen it. You know, I worked in Chicago, lived in Illinois for a couple of years. Love the people, love the state.
Mm-hmm.
Worked at our great affiliate, WROK in Rockford, Illinois, and our great affiliate, WLS in Chicago.
Yeah.
And had a blast. Because when you live in liberal cities, it's always fun to be a conservative talk show host.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It's a lot of fun.
But I have very fond memories. But I also know that these cities for decades upon decades upon decades have been putting in the same people. And as the Democratic Party has become more radicalized to the point of pure insanity, they keep getting disappointed with the politicians that they have in, and they decide to put in people that are even worse. Because now the mentality, as we said, when you look at the radical transgender movement in sanctuary cities, they're mainstream in the Democratic Party. They're not outliers.
Right.
This is all mainstream. They all believe it. And in Chicago, especially with the sanctuary city stuff, the citizens went crazy over that, which is why the number exists.
Mm-hmm.
Who are they going to bring in? I'm the non-woke Democrat.
Yeah, right.
I don't believe in sanctuary cities, and boys cannot be girls because they say so.
Right.
You can't get elected in Chicago saying that.
No.
And if you do, well, we're going to throw a celebration. But
Yeah.
he's in office for a while longer, though. I mean, but when you look at him, it's like, I can't imagine 6.6% approval. And you look at, Lori Lightfoot, 3 times more popular.
And it was still horrible.
It was like 20%.
It was still horrible.
Maybe that's what's happening. Maybe that's what's happening with the Democrats. Maybe they're like, look, we still have 20% approval. We got 21% approval. We haven't fallen. We haven't gone down to 6.6% yet. We still got a lot of room.
We got 1 out of every 5.
In fact, I do have some audio here of CNN's Harry Enton, who does the polling.
Yeah.
They're at CNN, talking about the 20% approval rating.
Just say there's a reason why congressional Democrats have like a 20% approval rating, and even amongst their own party has like a 40%, the lowest Quinnipiac has ever measured. And I think last night and sort of what's been going on over the past few months is a gosh darn good illustration of that.
They're insane on the issues. What else can you say?
Yeah.
And by the way, Scott Jennings has had a blast with that. Trump's numbers are down a couple of points. Pfft, you guys got 20%.
Right.
Shut up.
Right. Yeah, they definitely don't round up with Trump, do they? That's for sure. There's no rounding in that.
That's how you know the bias exists.
Exactly.
They round up for Johnson. They don't round up for Trump.
Well, and if 6.6 is rounded up to 7, isn't 7 rounded up to 10? Because it's more than 5, you know. I don't know what you do to turn it around. There's, again, on the issues, there's no way. On the issues, there is no way. Are the people of Chicago, the 93.4%, are they saying, no, we need a better liberal in here? They're screaming about issues. I don't vote. I mean, I don't think they're going to vote for a Republican. That's not going to happen. But I don't know what they think they're going to get. They got Lightfoot. They got Mayor Brandon. Well, what's next? Where do you go next? How far down do you have to go on the approval rating before you realize, none of this is working?
I can see anybody who runs against him next time. That I can get 15%. I can double the popularity.
Right. Well, man, there's a lot of people that could say that. I mean, right? I'll be more popular than the current mayor, says everybody else other than the current mayor. It's the issues. And I don't know what the voter does. I mean, they're going to vote Democrat. It's Chicago. But I don't know who's next.
I mean, he's into what, 2027? Is it 4 years?
Yep.
So he's into
Yep.
2027?
Yep.
It's a long time.
Oh, that's a long time.
You know, and the funny thing is, it's like when he talks about his investments, what he's talking about is more government spending, which means likelihood of more taxes.
Right.
It's like, wow.
Yeah. It's going to be more of the same until he's out of office. And then it's going to be the next person doing more of the same.
I just wonder, though, is there a turning point? Because the Democratic Party cannot continue. They're already losing people. They're losing young people. And they're losing young people, and old people are dying.
Yeah.
I mean, I say that because there's still a tremendous of support for the Democratic Party with old people. It's young people that have moved in the other way. And so when you have it, you know, when you have a Brandon Johnson have 6.6% in a fully Democrat city, Lori Lightfoot was at 23%, I think it was her lowest numbers, which are still horrendous.
Yeah.
When is it that you get 10% or 15% or 20% saying, I think I'll vote Democrat? Maybe they still won't win in a Chicago, but on the state level, on the federal level. When is it when people finally have enough with a political party? And when you see what happened the other day, when you see what happened in the president's speech, the Democratic Party is completely lost. They're completely lost. There isn't a major issue that they have even a plurality in.
Yeah.
Right now.
Right.
Everything. That's where the whole 80-20 came from. Now, it's not 80-20 on every issue, but it's 70-30, it's 60-40. It's, it's 56-44. And so when you see the numbers, you just have to ask yourself, when will Democrats have enough, especially when And this is when you think about Democrats, imagery and idolatry are incredibly important to Democrats.
Oh yeah.
And there's
everything.
there's nobody to have political idolatry over.
Right.
There isn't an Obama.
Right.
Think
Right.
about it. And we all knew it was fake for Kamala Harris. Remember the adulation? We went, that's all fake.
Yeah.
And everybody knew it. Now everybody's admitting, yeah, we had to do it. But genuinely, there is nobody they're excited about. No one.
Well,
No one.
You have the ones who were orchestrating all of that mess now going, oh, they all screwed it up. Well, you were part of George Clooney is even complaining. You were the one spearheading all of this. One of the people spearheading all of this.
When you think about it, it's like, well, look, Andrew Cuomo could make a run for president again in 2028 or 2032.
No.
It's like,
Yeah.
really? That's what you're going with?
Right.
It's just they're lost.
They've got nobody.
They don't have substance. They don't even have imagery anymore.
If you can't get it done on the issues, it doesn't matter who the person is. We've been saying it for years. The ideas matter. The people come and go.
They do right now. They matter more than I've ever seen. The issues matter right now, and I'm so happy they do. But the Democrats have always had superb people that could promote a particular imagery.
Because they could lie.
Right.
They could lie effectively.
But they can't even promote forget about the imagery backed by substance. They have no imagery right now. None.
No.
How do you get
can't.
that back?
Because you can't build a facade based on nothing. 2008, Barack Obama in 2024 or 2025, that kind of thing wouldn't happen.
866-90 Red Eye.
This morning's USDA Farm Report is brought to you by House Products. Tested, trusted, guaranteed since 1920.
With corn planted acreage for this season expected to be up over 3 million acres, how does that translate into USDA balance sheet projections? Economist Aaron Aites at this year's USDA Ag Outlook Forum started with,
We utilize a weather-adjusted trend model, giving us a boost in yields to 181 bushels per acre.
that's behind a forecasted production record of over 15.5 billion bushels, up 5% from the prior year.
Year over year, that gives us an increase in harvested area. And if these forecasts are realized, we will have record supplies of corn in 25-26.
With corn supplies distributed between feed and residuals, domestic ethanol production, and exports within the supply and demand ledger. Even so,
Our balance sheet estimates do have supply outpacing demand, and as a result, our ending stocks are expected to grow in 25-26.
with stocks-to-use ratio for corn also expected to increase from the previous season. I'm Rod Bain reporting for the U.S. Department of Agriculture in Washington, D.C.
This report brought to you by Cenex Fuels and Lubes.
We'll be right back with more Red Eye Radio with Eric Harley and Gary McNamara.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Just an update on that article that we read probably about 45 minutes ago. I'm amazed at the response.
Yeah.
We were just really impressed with the way it was written. It was from Vaz US, which is a Spanish language conservative website just south of where we broadcast from. I mean, just a couple of miles south.
Yeah.
I didn't even know they existed, and happened to see the article, Karina Mariani, Against the Tide, Why Trump Won Back the Heart of America. And it's a great article, and we read, we didn't read the whole thing, just some of the paragraphs. And apparently a lot of you were impressed with it, too. If you heard it or didn't hear it and want to know where it is, you go to Vaz, Vaz.us, and you can you can read it in Spanish or you can read it in English, or just go to we both posted it on my X page at Gary Red Eye 1 and also at Eric Harley, and it's just it's a great article. It's actually an article that I would show to my liberal friends.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
It really would.
It
really is
very well written.
Yep.
You're listening to Red Eye Radio from the Uniden America Studios.
It's Red Eye Radio. He's Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara. Hi.
Howdy.
So I want to play this audio.
Yeah.
Because this was on Fox News. It was on Laura Ingraham. Piers Morgan was on, and they were playing what Nicole Wallace said about 13-year-old, DJ, who the president acknowledged and made him an honorary member of the Secret Service, and he wants to be a cop. And MSNBC, I mean, they just lost it.
Yeah.
I mean, they've just completely and totally lost it. And I want to play what Nicole Wallace said, and this is where she said, well, I hope he doesn't grow up to be a cop and then guard the Capitol and then commit suicide because Trump supporters are there. It's like, what the hell?
What is wrong with you?
And then Rachel, what did Rachel Maddow say?
That Trump acted as if he cured the cancer.
Right. Yeah, he brought this kid as if he had cured the cancer out of him or whatever it was. It was just like, shut up.
Yeah.
What are you doing? But here it is. Here's what Nicole Wallace said. And then Piers Morgan responds to it.
He wants to be a cop. He knows what he wants to do. I hope he has a long life as a law enforcement officer. But I hope he never has to defend the United States Capitol against Donald Trump's supporters. And if he does, I hope he isn't one of the 6 who loses his life to suicide.
Piers, what was that?
One of the most disgusting, shameful, reprehensible things I have ever seen on the news in America. And the bar was pretty high for that accolade. I thought what Nicole Wallace did last night in taking that boy's story and in a weirdly dystopian, horrific way, asking us to think about whether he might kill himself. What on earth was she thinking? Why is she still in her job today? Why has nobody at NBC watched that back like the rest of us, aghast in horror, and said, you're fired? Because that was a disgusting thing to do. And she wasn't the only one at MSNBC. Rachel Maddow, in a laughably ironic rant about don't politicize this boy's story, then politicized his story. And they couldn't get their heads around it. Again, Laura, it was the lack of humanity. I don't care if you're on the left or the right. If you're a human being and that story doesn't just move you like a human being should be moved, there is something wrong with you. There was something wrong with those Democrats who didn't get up off their backside. There's something wrong with those MSNBC anchors. And it says an awful lot that they still pretend they are the caring ones.
By the way, if you heard me chuckle, I was chuckling when Piers Morgan said, and the bar's been set really high.
Yeah,
about
exactly.
the insanity of the left.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah,
what
it
got me.
has.
I wasn't laughing at all in any type of way, criticizing what Piers Morgan was saying. I want to make that clear.
No.
One of the greatest scenes was the video that was out yesterday when DJ is in the Oval Office.
Yeah.
And he says, one more thing. By the way, very authoritative. One more thing. And Trump's sitting there.
Yeah.
And he says, I want one more thing, and I want a hug. And he goes up and hugs the president. It was the most unbelievable thing.
It was great.
But, the thing is, the first thing that I got out of it is, the president was being submissive to DJ again. I mean, and that's what really bothered me.
Well, I'll tell you right now.
The president isn't a leader. He's submissive to a 13-year-old child.
If there's anyone who's fought harder than Trump in recent years, it's probably DJ Daniel,
Yeah.
if you think about it. But he is a future leader, and I am confident, and he will always remain in my prayers that he will have a very long life. I did the math. He will be eligible age-wise to run for president in 2047, which means DJ Daniel 2048.
The video of him, it's tough to even talk about. 13 years old.
Yeah.
Talking about confronting his own mortality.
Yeah. Yeah.
Was something that was, what I thought about? and we're all going to go through it at some time unless we die of a quick heart attack. We may get something that says, okay, the odds are you've got, a year and a half.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
And when I saw DJ say that, I thought to myself, when or if that ever happens to me, I hope I can look at it and say, you've lived a wonderful life. This kid had to confront it at 13 years of age. You've had a full life.
Yeah.
Feel blessed for every day that you have. Because I can't imagine being that young. And when he talked about it in that video,
well,
it had to destroy but the last thing I would want to do is make anything political out of it.
Yeah.
That addressed him in some way. Because she was saying, I hope he doesn't want to commit suicide someday. Shut up.
Just weird.
But the one thing I got out of the speech, and I've got it out of Trump in general, and I said it yesterday, but I can expand on it. He's learned. He has become a tremendous, and I'm not saying this is not an insult, he has become an incredible politician.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I say that
he has settled in like I've seen nobody settle into that role.
Yeah. I mean, it's the transformation of him. And by the way, I thought he was fine with Zelensky.
Mm-hmm.
I thought he was fine.
Yeah.
I think, and you and I talked about it earlier when we broke it down, and who else? Somebody else broke it down, too. I forgot who it was. We read the article earlier this week who broke it down. He was offering, the media didn't pay attention to it, the left didn't, but he was offering, when he said, about, English and French troops, and, it's something we might consider U.S. troops when the peace deal's done. I mean, he was giving him everything.
Right.
And when he got mad, when Trump, he didn't get angry like he used to get angry.
Right.
It wasn't the same like, okay, you got to him.
Right.
It was simply, well, no, wait a minute here. No,
and then it's just a series of insults, and it's,
right.
He stayed on topic, stayed on the issue.
Right. It was him criticizing him with a certain confidence.
Yeah.
Not panic that I need to get in the next jab at you because I need to win this little rhetorical battle.
Yeah, this back and forth.
Right. It was, and I just, and then when he did it yesterday, we read the one Drudge headline that says chaos in Congress, and I'm like, it wasn't chaos. It was, in fact, I thought it was extremely entertaining, and the reason it wasn't chaos was because of the way Trump's tone was. Yeah. And when Al Green was up there screaming, and Mike Johnson's behind him, and he turned to the side, then he turned back, and he looked, he's got this big smile on his face. I mean, he's really, really, really perfected being a politician when there's a lot of noise around him.
The most noise.
There's a lot of noise around him, and he has risen above the noise.
Yeah.
And that's what a leader is.
Right.
And a lot of other
You
presidents...
don't respond and engage to everything going on within that chatter.
Right. Because we've never seen this kind of, protest, and it was silly.
Yeah.
And like I said, I was fine with it. You and I said this a couple of weeks ago, to hell with decorum. We're way past that.
Yeah.
Let everybody show exactly where they stand, wherever they wish to stand, and that's fine.
Right.
Trump was great. The respect for the Oval Office is still there from the majority of Americans, and him rising above it and smiling, and then and going at them at the same time and saying, "Look, I know. No matter what I say, I could cure a disease, and you'd criticize me."
Right,
and people are like, yeah, that's probably true. But there was a sense of humor to it. He kept the comedy in it. He kept it light. And at the same time, there was a seriousness to him on the issues. I am so impressed of what he has become over the last year.
Yeah. Yeah.
What he has become, and how he, not that I agree with him on everything. We've talked about this, but I'm talking about as president of the United States and as a leader, which is why people are giving him a chance on some stuff. Because Democrats are like, well, why aren't people furious? Because they're like, you know something? This guy actually cares about me. You know, maybe he won't do 100% right, but he cares about me, and he's a hell of a lot better than you people that are complete nutcases and total insanity.
Right.
This guy really cares. He did it to an extent. I remember, I think I said it back in September of 2015. Was it me who said it? Where I said, people don't understand why there's this attraction towards Trump. They look at me and goes, he cares about Americans. He loves us first.
Mm-hmm.
And that's exactly what you're getting right now. And now when you see the thing, there was nothing uncomfortable when DJ came up and hugged him. I mean, it was a great.
Oh, man.
It was such a great
moment.
It was such a great moment, and him even with Elon Musk in there, and then bringing and then not in the Oval Office, but but Zelensky there and going back and forth. Maybe it was in the Oval Office. I'm not sure where they had that meeting, but everything, even with the British Prime Minister and talking about freedom of speech, going back and forth. Have that discussion,
right?
People debate all the time,
right?
It doesn't have to be, okay, we're going to pretend we all love each other, then we're going to kill each other in private.
Well,
no.
and in the past, too often, he wanted to engage, and it just would go into name-calling and insults.
Yes. And you don't need to do that.
He doesn't engage in that way anymore, but he's still not afraid to have the conversation, which is exactly how it should be handled. Nobody's handled it that way in the past. I don't know. Tell me, if Zelensky had done what he did, tell me how because in my mind I'm trying to put George Bush in that office. I could see George Bush just looking around at the media, with a weird smirk on his face, not understanding what just happened.
Oh my gosh!
Not knowing where to go.
Right, the imagery was perfect.
I mean, he would just be looking around with a halfway smile, just kind of
like at the inauguration, in January. Remember the look when he was looking around.
I appreciate all of the media being here for Mr. Zelensky.
But I think it's important because a lot of people have looked at Trump and said, okay, he's got a huge ego. He's got a huge ego. How much arrogance and narcissism is in this kind of guy? Just the way he is. He can never be wrong. He can never. And all of a sudden you see what he has transformed into. You have to go where he has gone. His ego is not leading him.
Right. No, it's not.
His ego is not. Otherwise, there's no way he has become what he has become and what he has learned because he's been willing to learn. He's been willing to learn. He's been willing to listen in order to get to the point where he is today to pull off what is still the greatest political upset in American history.
Yeah.
After what he has been through.
Yeah, no doubt.
And so we always give credit where credit is due. We may not always agree, but you've got to give credit to where credit is due. And right now, he is a great representative of the United States.
No, I think so. I really do. Because you have the rest of the world. Europe, everybody now is looking at it differently. I mean, I know with the tariff wars, it's like, well, okay, we're gonna reciprocate now. We're gonna, but
that will end. That will end, and that will be negotiated because economics takes care of it.
And with time, what are we seeing? All right, now Great Britain coming around on Ukraine, and we're seeing all these other things. And on the other side of tariffs, you may even see Europe with a different attitude, going, you know what? Okay, we're going to change what we're doing in terms of trade and see if we can't. And I hope that's where it goes.
Mm-hmm. You never know.
But
yeah.
On the issues, on international geopolitical issues, Trump is winning. And the rest of the world is looking at that going, yeah, okay. They're coming around. Even Zelensky. All right. That wasn't good. Going to have to go back to the table with Trump. Because this is the right approach. It's wild to watch.
866-90 Red Eye.
Coming up, more with Gary McNamara and Eric Harley. It's Red Eye Radio.
It's Red Eye Radio. He is Eric Harley, and I'm Gary McNamara.
All right, so CNBC reporting that there's a, it's a source story. There might be an agricultural deal in the works with Canada and Mexico. So, are we going to hear something? Commerce Secretary said the other day, an announcement on a deal on tariffs could be happening soon.
Well, does that include grain alcohol? Is that technically agricultural?
It should be. Another crazy day is in the works.
This is Red Eye Radio on Westwood One.